Well, hello there, and welcome to the Radical World, the podcast. I'm Jose Leal with Matt Perez, my partner, and today we have a unique individual to talk to. I'm enjoying the pre-conversation already, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Um, his name is Perry Knoppert, or Dr. Octopus. Uh, I feel like calling you 007 right away.
Yeah, it sounds like a villain, right? It sounds horrible in a way as well. Oh
Welcome,
dear.
welcome, Perry.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to be radical in this podcast. I can be radical, right?
Well, yeah, you can be radical. I think you
Sure.
are radical, whether you like it or not. Um, Basically, we only invite radicals, so there you go.
Okay.
Um, Tell us a little bit about how you got not Dr. Octopus or the movement, but what got you to the point where coming up with that was necessary for you?
Well, I think it started by being weird my entire life, and I've always been the weird one, and I've always loved weird people. The connections with others. I was always the most excited about weird people. But then you grow up and you want to be successful in life, and I discovered that that's not a very good combination. Um, and I was struggling for a very long time. Like, I want to be weird, but I also want to be successful. I want to be radical, but I also want people to like me. I want to be creative, but I also want to have a good job. I want to be free, but I also want to drive a Mercedes Benz. So I was a bit lost, to say the least. And how I became where I'm right now is a decision. With a lot of things happened at one point, and I took the decision to just let it all go, give it all away, and I became homeless, and I wanted to disconnect from everything. And that was a very radical move, and not because I wanted to create that move, but it was pure based on curiosity and some kind of strange force inside of me, like, this is what we're gonna do. And I have three kids. It was not a smart move, and a lot of people really hated me for doing that, but I think that's when everything changed in my life.
And what was the trigger? What caused that shift for you, where you said, "I'm weird, and I want to be weird,
Yeah,
and I
and you know
want to
how I
stick to
framed
that."
it? I framed it as I want to be an artist, because for me, I was searching, like, what am I going to do? Who am I? And maybe it was my midlife crisis. I was 45 when this all happened. I don't know, but I was searching. My relationship ended in Brussels. The landlord wasn't happy with me. He wanted to break the contract. Everything fell apart while I was trying, to do my best and succeed in all the expectations I had of myself and others. And that was the driving force also in thinking, I want to be an artist. I just want to be an artist because I have a feeling that I can be myself if I can be an artist. Because, what is art? There are books. I have all these books about the explanation of art, which is just phenomenal. That you can read that and they can't make up their minds what art is. So I want to be an artist. If art is very nonlinear, then I want to be an artist, and I want to create art, and I want to create things. I don't want to consume. I want to create. I want to build beautiful things. And yeah, and that's what happens. And the homelessness really helped, but I think we need some suffering in life from time to time to really get somewhere. It sounds like a cliche, and I'm listening to myself now. I'm thinking, oh my god, look at this guy, and so many people now on social media are sharing, like, I found it and this is the way to go, and giving advice to everyone. um I don't want to be a part of that. I just want to create. I just want to build something beautiful. And I always say to people, don't listen to advice, do it your own way. Don't use a system or a method. Just create what you want to create. And that's what happened.
And so then Dr. Octopus emerged one day
Yeah.
from underneath the sheets, and you looked yourself in the mirror and you said, "What the hell?"
What the hell? What the hell am I doing? After 7 months of homelessness, I got into a house. I saw my kids again. So happy. And these little monsters were sitting on my couch and so happy. And we were so thrilled to be together again. And I was thinking, holy shit, I survived this. I didn't have anything, no car, no bank account, no phone, nothing, just a bag and my dog, and that's it. And I discovered that nothing really changed. So everything here stayed the same. Everything there changed. So how people saw me, the interaction with others, that really changed. And that was for me the biggest lesson in life, also to create things. Because before that, you hear people say, ignore the opinion of others, follow your gut feeling, right? And don't listen to others. This is bullshit. Of course we listen to others. Of course we care about what others are saying about ourselves. But in that journey, that was a slap in my face. Like, I didn't change, and they decided that I totally radically changed, which was not the case. I was having the same thoughts, I was having the same feelings. Everything was the same. How I saw things was the same. Nothing changed. And after 7 months, I thought, okay, if I can survive this, then I can be an artist. Then I can do whatever I want to do. And I want to create a global nonprofit that creates the awareness of all these weirdos in the world. And I think if we combine them all together, then we can create something beautiful. And what I say, weirdo. So people that are very nonlinear, people that are thinking slightly different, are very proud to call themselves weird. And in the normal world, to be called weird is not a positive thing. But for people that are very creative and think in a different way, weird is a compliment. So I have to say that in advance, otherwise people are thinking that's not very kind of him to talk about weirdos. But we love to be called weird. We don't want to be
No,
normal.
yeah, I thought you were describing us. That's why
As
I,
being
I,
weird,
I just
right,
nodded and
Jose?
agreed. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I think you've got us pegged.
And that's how it started. And I thought, let's create this awareness. And I started with 50 people, and no business plan, no blueprint. And I remember when I was homeless, at one point I was standing in the living room of my girlfriend and saying, it's so clear to me now. It's so clear. And she said, what, Perry? Tell me. And I said, I don't know. I can't describe it, but the feeling is very clear. And she said, that's weird. I said, oh, you haven't seen anything yet. Prepare yourself. But that was the discovery in myself, that we have a very nonlinear brain living in a linear world. And what I want to say with that is, when we're born, we're uh, amazing humans. NASA, during the space race, was doing research, asked the consultancy firm, they were looking for the most brilliant creative minds. Where are they? We need them in the development and getting somewhere. And this consultancy firm did research, and they found out that 98% of the 3 to 5 year olds are creatively brilliant kids. And they also interviewed 180,000 31-year-olds average age, and only 2% of them were creatively brilliant. So there's no linear 2-year-old. Someone in the movement always says that, and I love that. There's no 2-year-old in the world that's linear, right? So we're all nonlinear thinkers. And I went to Philips in the Netherlands to ask for an MRI machine because I wanted to do research in how the brain is wired differently when you're very nonlinear. Of course, I didn't get an MRI machine. I was homeless. Who the hell is this dude? But they gave me access to their research team, and that's how it all started. Like, something is going on here. We have all these beautiful minds, and they're very nonlinear, and I can explain later why that is. But this world where everything is so linear, sometimes it disconnects so badly, and we need to do something. And if we look at two examples, education and leadership, two big topics, it's time to do something. And you cannot change anything when you're using the same kind of thinking, the same kind of people. Joe Dispenza is saying that 98% of our thoughts are the same every day. So if you're taking your management team out to do a brainstorm session to create something new, good luck, because these guys are always thinking the same thing, or girls, and it's not working. You need different thinking. You need out of the box, which I hate that word, but you need that. Um,
Out of the box.
Out of the box, radical thinking. You need radical thinking. We need radical thinking to change leadership styles in today's world. We have AI coming in so fast. We need human intelligence. We need to talk about that. We need to discover how that all works. And we need radical thinking. We need different thinking. And we can only have that with nonlinear thinkers, in my perspective.
So you're going to get to the research, but I think of the brain as a child. We find out that the whole brain is interconnected and everything's possible. And then as we grow older, people say this is the direction and that's the direction and that's the direction. You talk about linear. It's as if they say, here's the train tracks, get on that and keep going. And you can't diverge off the train tracks, not even a millimeter, right? You're stuck. If you want to move forward, you've got to be on the train tracks and you need to move forward. And for me, that what we call fiat is the control system that keeps you on the train, that keeps you on the tracks. And so much of what we do isn't because it's not possible to jump the tracks. It's because we think that that's the only way forward.
Yeah.
Right? That's the pattern we've been built with.
Yeah. And I see that as an isolation of thoughts. It's conditioned there for so many years and so many generations. And it's almost like, the point I want to make is that our thoughts is reality as we see them, but that's not the case. And we're so conditioned that this way of thinking brings us there, where that's not the truth. It's only our created reality, but we're all stuck in that path, and we're constantly motivating each other to stay in that way of thinking. Think about yourself. You're doing something radical, you're doing something completely different, and the first thing you will hear is from others saying, are you sure? And this is ridiculous. They share an opinion. I have a feeling that, when you draw a conclusion, it isolates yourself immediately in that package of thoughts. There is no opening anymore. And
Right.
you need that. Some people ask me, what is nonlinear thinking? And I see that as the empty space between thoughts. I got that inspiration from music. Music is in between the notes. And I think nonlinear thinking is in between, in that empty space of thoughts, because these thoughts are so conditioned that you need to go into that empty space, and everybody knows what it is. You lost something, and then 2 days later you're taking a shower, and then all of a sudden it pops up. It's there, and you're thinking, where the hell is that thought coming from? Or you have all of a sudden an idea or a sentence if you're a writer, and then all of a sudden these words pop up, and like, this is the sentence. How many people are not taking notes on their phone when something all of a sudden pops up? That's nonlinear thinking. And and I would love to embrace that and talk about it, not because it's only nonlinear thinking. It's the combination. It's bringing that in balance. We need systems. That's fine, and we need to organize things. But can we also let go of that a little bit, please, and allow people also to be in that space? Because if at schools and university, if you're weird, and for instance you have neurodiversity, and you're on the spectrum, you have autism, and you behave totally different from the rest, the isolation of thought is to immediately put you in that corner. It's ridiculous that 80% of the people in the spectrum are not having the job they should have just because it's not aligned with these expectations. What the hell, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what are we doing? I don't get it. And it's very powerful. And I think, and then I will go to the research, but I think if we go to this space, we can solve issues. We can solve big issues. We can help organizations into innovation. We can solve climate change. We can solve hunger, well-being. We can focus on these areas. I think the solution is maybe even quite simple, but we're so stuck in that linear thinking that we think that the solution is only based on the linear thinking. Well, real innovation, if we look in history, it's always been based on the weirdos,
Of course.
right?
Of course.
Always.
I wonder, Perry, if you agree with this. My sense is that we thinking it in people is dynamic,
Mhm.
and that the linear thinking is simply an external pressure that causes that linear thinking, right? When you say non-linear thinking, it's deconditioning ourselves to some degree to allow for those dynamic thoughts, those dynamic ideas, those dynamic motivations to actually exhibit themselves without that second thought. Well, that's weird. Like I
Yeah.
shouldn't think that. That's wrong because that doesn't fit in the frame.
Yeah.
All of those kinds of things. Does that make sense to you? Is that
It's absolutely the truth, and it's so wonderful to embrace that because it's useful in everything. It's useful in your management team. It's useful in your, innovation department, but it's also very useful in your own relationship with your spouse and your kids.
and
Very
yourself
useful.
and yourself?
And yourself. And this is what I discovered, because I was thinking, but why is everything so linear? There must be a reason for that. And first of all, I was reading this book and I met with the author. It's Nomads, and it took him 6 years to write this book because there are no monuments built by nomads. So there's no history talking about linear thinking. How awesome is that? So it took him 6 years to write this. And these nomads, inspire me a lot because the nomadic life is a very non-linear life. And then there were always nomads who would stay in a city and would specialize and stay at one point and do one thing over and over and be very good at that and create systems so they could grow. Again, I'm not against systems, but I want to understand why this is happening. And then I found this research document. It's called Chaos Management and Economics: The Implications of Nonlinear Thinking by the Institute of Economic Affairs. And they did research why maybe 80% is so linear. And it has to do with the fear of our own mind. It's it's the fear of understanding your own thinking. So if you don't want to explore your own fear in your own mind, then you want to make sure you stay in control, to put it very simply, this whole document. So what happens is if you have fear and you don't want to go into your mental state, you want to stay in control. You want to know what's happening next week, and next month, and next year. In order to stay in control, you create systems. You make things as linear as possible because then you can predict it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Now,
Command and control,
command and
predict.
control, predict. And there goes the creativity, there goes the possibilities. Then you have very nonlinear thinkers, me. And why is it that I'm so nonlinear? Well, I have dyslexia, I have ADHD, and I'm on the spectrum. So I've heard my entire life that I'm weird as fuck, constantly. As a little kid at school, if I would hand in my paperwork, it was all red and like misspellings, and it was all bad. So I was constantly thinking, I'm doing something wrong. It's me. So I constantly have been searching into my own mind what's wrong with me. That creates the possibility not to be afraid all the time because I start to understand my own mind very well. While a linear thinker doesn't want to go there. And I'm embracing that because I need to know what's going on. And therefore, as a result, I can have chaos in my life. I can have chaos in my life. I went even homeless because I can embrace chaos. I don't mind chaos. I love chaos because it creates new opportunities. So that's the difference between linear and nonlinear thinkers. That you have a huge group of people that are wearing tight underwear and they're in line and they want to be, they want to be in control of everything. And then you have a group of people that's a smaller group that can allow chaos and be creative and innovative. But the problem is that that large group of linear thinkers are not always very pleased with the free souls, the free minds of the chaotic people, because that's something they're afraid of. So that's a clash. That's difficult unless someone who's very nonlinear gets linear result in its life, and we have many examples from that, then everything changes because then all of a sudden the linear world celebrates the brilliance of that nonlinear mind. Think about Steve Jobs with Apple, right? In the beginning, like who is this nutcase, and what is he doing? And we don't agree, and he got fired from Apple, etc. And then he succeeded, and then all of a sudden, everybody was celebrating his nonlinear brilliance, and now people are reading his books, watching his movies, and he's huge. But that hasn't always been the case. So I find that interesting to talk about. And indeed, Anthony, chaos is fun. I love
Yeah,
chaos. Uh,
we're getting some comments from our audience here.
Well, let me make a comment first. I I don't think it's chaos. It's just a different way of doing things.
mhm,
And innovation, the real innovation, is the result of doing things differently. And you're right, people are not bosses in particular are not very happy with, oh no, but that's not going to make us money. And I think that's the primary thing that keeps us in line. That rail is can you make money for me? Can you make money for me? And and when it doesn't happen, no, that's too weird. Let's put it aside. Um, but but I don't call it chaos on purpose because it's not. It's just a different way of thinking.
Well, and essentially again back to it's a dynamic environment. Things are
It's the
moving.
dynamic.
it's
Reality is
very dynamic.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Reality
Yeah.
is dynamic, and we can call it chaos because it to us, I think chaos sounds like something that's out of control.
Mhm.
But in reality, we have no control. The best we can do is play with the dynamic environment and react to it, respond to it, deal with it, not try to control it. Because when we try to control it, then we limit our options for what it is that we can do.
But that's what businesses do every day.
That's the
If
structure of
you're
our
if you're
society.
if I can't control you, I'll fire you. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You go die
If
somewhere.
if you're not manageable, then where do we go? Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
But
I,
on
I
the
just
other
wanted,
hand, yeah, one remark because it's about making money. I agree, but that different thinking is creating money. It just needs to there needs to be a safe space to have the different thinking, and what we've done so far is with the Octopus Movement, we've created a black box, a think tank, where we have like 40 very nonlinear thinkers, and then we come all together. We've created our own system in going very fast. So within 50 minutes we come together and we solve problems, and we have like 320 ideas. We bring that together with a whole team of very intelligent people, and then write a white paper or a recommendation or a report and give that back to the organization, like this is what you could do based on the different thinking. And in that way, you don't have to hire a whole team of non-manageable people, right? You can still be safe and be in control, but you can link with a whole different group. And I think today with AI, which is so linear and so beautiful and so well made, you need that different thinking. You need that human intelligence to combine that and create something awesome. And I'm not saying that if you need different thinking, you have to go to the Octopus Movement. You can, but you can also start thinking about creating your own think tanks, not necessarily with your own staff, but maybe in a community, or you create some black box for yourself with people that are not on your payroll, but freelancers that are different thinkers. There are possibilities, there are solutions to go there, and it brings in money. If I see what we've done for startups and big corporations in sessions of just 50 minutes, I've seen management meetings of 2 hours that doesn't bring anything, and
Right.
then we do a black box of 50 minutes and it changes everything. Like,
I'd,
there's let's
I'd
not
love to.
waste any time,
I'd
right?
love to learn more about the Octopus Movement, which we really haven't talked about yet. And
Yeah.
you're talking about some of the work that you do, but I want to acknowledge some of the folks that have made some comments here, because before we sort of move on from the nonlinear thinking, not that we're moving on from it, but we've established really what it is that we're talking about. We've got a comment from Karen Ziegler, who just commented about, let's stop thinking that our dynamic thoughts are weird, and let's start questioning the linear thoughts.
Mhm.
Right?
It's weird. It's weird. Yeah.
Right. Let's do that. And I think that's right on. And Anthony and Mohit, thank you guys for your comments. The idea that, as you said, and as Anthony said, that nonlinear thinking creates a lot of value. To me, it creates much more value than linear thinking does.
Yeah.
Right? Because the value of evolution isn't repeating the same thing over and over and over again.
That's stability, right? And we need stability as well,
Of
but
course.
that's it.
And stability provides us with the ability to know what's happening tomorrow. But then how do we move beyond tomorrow?
And we need stability to be nonlinear as well. I like to see it in linear smart and nonlinear smart. You need to be. It's wonderful to have your studio
Back to
and
dynamic.
and you're safe and you can be creative there, right? There needs some stability in your life in order to have that space. So we need that. It needs to dance together. And I'm using this mantra of Timothy Leary always. He used turn on, tune in, and drop out, but I added some things to it. It's turn on your nonlinear thinking, please. Be aware of that, and tune into the human mycelium. I will explain later what that is, and drop out of the laws of thought. George Boyle wrote the laws of thought in 1815, and it's the binary thinking, and it created a lot of possibilities, computer language, etc. But we're so stuck in binary thinking that I love to say, drop out of the laws of thought. If you have a thought right now and you're thinking, he's weird with his cap and his Dutch accent, that's the laws of thought. You're immediately judging, you're immediately drawing your conclusions. And you need to be aware, you don't need to be aware, but be aware of the fact that you can step out of that, and it serves you well if you can do that. It's that simple. And within the Octopus Movement, we don't have any rules, and I'm so proud of that. The diversity is awesome. We don't need to talk about that. We don't have any rules. We don't have a blueprint. We don't have a business plan. It's organic with systems. Because when we started with the think tank, the first year we just played around, nothing happened. And we needed a system structure in that think tank based on the nonlinear brain to really create something awesome within 15 minutes. So that's what it's about for me. It's that organic flow of everything, and then adjusting with some systems and some rules, and also a lot of space not to have any systems and rules, so that can work together and dance together and create something beautiful.
I like to say that it's not about the rules, it's about the tools.
Hmm.
And the tools for me, in part, are protocols.
Yeah.
Because a protocol is something I adopt and you adopt. It's not something that I impose on you.
No.
It's not a rule.
No.
And if we agree that's a good way to do this, then it helps us both.
Then fine.
And we
Right.
own it. And we own it. But when I say to you, this is the way you must do it, right away you're like, I'm not sure if that's the right way. Even if it is, it doesn't feel right. Right.
And it limits the possibilities, Jose,
Exactly.
because sometimes I think, we set a goal, and again, it's a trend, that you have all these courses online and people helping. This is where you want to go. You want to have 1 million followers. You want to have $1 million on your bank account, whatever. And then this is your end goal. You need to focus. And then this is the method going there. But it feels to me that it could be a form of self-hypnosis. It blinds you. Like, this is what I need to do. I need to stay on this line. I need to use this method because then I will get there. But maybe you will go much further if you open up things, right? Maybe this is not where you should be going. Maybe you should be going the other way. That is much more interesting and much more successful for your organization. We're in that way self-hypnosing ourselves constantly. Like, I need to stay here. If I want to have followers on social media, I need to post 4 posts a day, and I need to do this and I need to do that, and it's not working. It doesn't work that way. Of course there's systems that work that way, but it's questionable, and I find that a form of self-hypnosis, that you're missing out on possibilities.
It may not work that way for us, but it may work well for somebody else. So my son, my 40-year-old son, not a little kid, 42, and he has this rule in his head that he says if he doesn't get a video done by 6 o'clock or whatever, that he won't do it again. And of course, he throws everything aside and goes into that video for that one video.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And then next week is another video about something else, but it's the same rule. It's the same. If I don't get done by 6 o'clock, I'll never do it again. I got to do it before 6 o'clock so I can do it again. So the value of nonlinear thinking, the value, Karen said something that I really liked. She said, Karen Siegler, instead of questioning our nonlinear thoughts that come up, we should question the conditions, the conditioned linear thoughts. Are they still true? Are they still relevant? Is there evidence that they're not true, etc.? Every one of us is unique. Every one of us is unique. And what works for you doesn't work for the other ones. What we came up with is 5 things. I say 3 and Jose says 5, but no, it's 5 things. The first one is about the person, meaning and belonging.
Yeah.
Are you somebody blocking me for things that mean something to me? And that do I want to belong to a team? And it may be that I like them all. That's not the problem, but I have to feel like I belong there. The other one is for organizations, decentralization and transparency. In other words, if you don't have transparency, you don't have anything. If I tell you some things, I'm the boss, of course. I tell you some things, and I tell the other guy certain things. I tell somebody else certain things. that's not the thing. Is to put it all out there and let people pick up what resonates with them, and decentralize in the sense of making decisions and things like that. Your decisions will work for you,
Yeah.
but may not work for me. So
No.
okay, you go with that. Your mission innovation, for example, and innovation is the kind of thing where we want innovation, says the boss, say the bosses, but but not that one, not that one, not that one. Not, oh, let's do that one, and that one is not innovation; it's just tweak.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot, also. That innovation in regular companies are not innovations; they're just tweak.
Because it's safer, right?
Because it's within the box.
It's much safer because it fits the box. It fits
Yeah.
in line, and we're still in control. I get
And
that.
you're still in control. And
Yeah.
and so we have to change this. And the other thing is experimentation.
Mhm.
That's the last thing, the practices. People ask about practices and experiment,
Yeah.
and treat everything like an experiment. Because even when we're doing the same thing over and over and over, a machine can do that well. Okay, and we invented a machine for that. But people cannot. And treat everything like an experiment, and you either learn how to not to do it, or you learn how to do it. So you learn in either case, but you got to start by thinking: this is an experiment. Is it going to come out, or is it not going to come out? So the stability you were talking about, I'm not a big fan of stability anymore. In certain things, like we eat certain foods and don't eat certain foods. If that's stability, yeah, that works for me too. But it's stability of we sat in the desk and we designed this thing this way because it's got to fit in this box, and that we'll try to fit in the box. I worked at Sun Microsystem, a neighbor of yours. Well, Andy Bechtel Chime was a neighbor of yours, and he treated everything like an experiment. So he designed a power supply once that didn't fit in the box.
Hmm.
So he made the box bigger.
Yeah.
Big deal. And that's how he made it work. So the point is that I feel that you have to have some rules, some not even rules, just guiding posts, and go with those. But if it doesn't work for you, don't adopt them. That's all there is to it.
You know what I would love, guys? This is if we can make that happen, and if we stay in this language, linear, non-linear thinking, it would
Yeah.
be so beautiful if we would create the non-linear manager in this world, and the non-linear manager in this world is capable and has the authority in an organization to press a button and stop the system for whatever purpose. So for a client or for an employee, it would be so beautiful if we could really be aware of the difference between the linear and the nonlinear thinking. Imagine you have a client and there's a problem. The worst thing you can say is, that's how it works, right? That's the system we have in our organization, and this is it. It would be so beautiful if someone could say, I pause the system, we solve the problem. When everything is solved and it works again, we reactivate the system. Can you imagine what happens in education if we could do that? A
Yes.
student has a problem, we stop everything, we solve it, and we reactivate the system. That would be awesome.
But Perry, I think we need to take a step back even before that, because I love what you're saying. That's kind of the Toyota model, right? Anybody on the line can stop the line.
Yeah.
And that was very, very powerful. But I wonder if even the concept of the employee and the employer, the manager and the managed, the client and the employer, that model is also linear thinking, because those are just people.
Yeah.
And those are people who have the desire to create things in this world.
Yep.
And they're being forced to do it within a structure that defines them as an employee or as a manager or as an owner or as a client, rather than as an individual who is seeking to either serve or be served. And that's what we're doing in an organization. We're serving each other in order to serve others. And how do we understand that at that level? Because I think, to me, the level of understanding nonlinear thinking at the level of where we don't even start to put the teacher and the student, but the guided and the learner, because everyone's learning all the time. And there are people who love to guide learners.
Yeah.
How do we do that? Because the teacher teaches, but do we need students to learn on their own and from each other at different age groups, rather than as a 50-year-old teacher teaching 5-year-old children?
I agree with you, Jose, and I think it's language. If I see that in my life right now, for my own thinking, for my own linear thinking, it changed when I was aware of the language of linear and nonlinear thinking. It helped me. Like, oh, now I understand. Nobody taught me anything. It was just the decision. That's this part and that's that part. So it organizes the way I see things. And I have 3 kids, right? And I have 3 teenagers. So we started to use that
My
language.
sympathies, by the way.
No, it's so much fun. I love teenagers. But it's never a dull moment. But we embedded this now in our family, and it's very useful. When my teenager comes home from school and something ridiculous happened, he's now able to say, that was very linear from the teacher. And what I'm excited about is that a student can explain to the teacher why this has been difficult for the student. And now the student has language to explain to the teacher, this is why there's friction, and this is why he finds it difficult. So it goes both ways. And I think that's beautiful, that you can have a decent conversation with your teacher, not in, I don't agree, I don't like you, you look weird, I don't like your beard, these kind of things. No, it's like, I understand that that's the linear approach of education. My nonlinear brain goes this way, and there's a huge conflict there, and I don't know what to do, but it feels wrong in my body to go there. And there's a decent conversation going on. And it all started just with language, just in understand, because everybody understands. If I need to explain nonlinear thinking, everybody has an idea with their linear isolation what nonlinear thinking is. That's why it's nonlinear thinking, because you understand immediately what it is. So it's language, and that opens up everything.
Exactly. I love
Language is very important. Yes.
It's so powerful. Yeah.
Perry, we're having a conversation and the time has run away from us. It's now 44 minutes into our conversation, our half-hour conversation.
Our half-hour conversation. So linear, Jose.
and I just want to, because we're going to need to wrap up in a few minutes, I really want to hear Octopus comes about. And you identify with, I want to be weird. I want to be something that stands out. And I'm okay with that. I like that. And I want to now find the others.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you found the others and what the others are doing and what's the goal and objective of the others and you.
The goal of the Octopus Movement is to bring 1 billion nonlinear thinkers together. Let's start with that and create some change.
So
Be
you think
radical.
small.
Yes, very small. And then what happens is that you create a safe space where people can be themselves, where you don't have to wear a mask because you're different from the others. And it works so beautifully. We call it the human mycelium because in the beginning people were saying, "Oh, you're building a community," as like, that doesn't feel good. Community. It feels like you have to wear a badge and you go in and out of our community, or when you leave this space, you're no longer in the community. That's not what I want to create. This is a global connection between people. And I was watching a documentary of Paul Stamets, and he was talking about fungi and the mycelium, how in nature everything is connected and supporting each other. Like, but that's what we already have. But we don't learn anything about that. So we're not creating anything new. We're just using this language,
Exposing it.
exposing what's already there. And that's what's happening. So in the Octopus Movement, people are coming together from all over the world, from all different backgrounds. Again, there are no rules, there are no expectations, and everybody danced with each other. And these connections are made, and there's movement. There's constant movement in development, in creation, and I love that. It's just so beautiful. And some people say it's weird not to be the weirdo anymore. It's weird not to be the strangest person in the room anymore. Now, if I'm in the Octopus Movement, there are other people that are stranger than me. And I heard some people saying that they really had to adjust about that. But now they can just communicate how they want. They can just think very fast. We have brain lunches where we invite people to do a 60-minute deep dive into a topic. It goes fast and deep and different than the system requires to do a 60-minute talk about something. It goes from all directions, and it's awesome. People can be themselves, and there's freedom, there's happiness. And it sounds ridiculous as I say it like this, but it's beautiful. People, how cool is it not to be masking yourself and meet other people and talk about all kinds of stuff and make connections and grow. I think it's awesome.
Sounds awesome. Sounds
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you for doing that, because that sounds to me like a piece of the puzzle moving forward.
Yeah,
We
I
need
think
to
so.
we need to figure out how to be ourselves, and not just how we think, but who we are.
No.
Because who we are is fundamental to how we connect.
Yeah.
Just as mycelium have different roles and play different aspects of that mycelium network.
Yeah.
So do we, and we need to put ourselves in the right flow of what's happening in and out.
A very quick example, if I may, 1 minute, less than a minute. We have
Sure, that's what they always say.
we have a founding members group in the middle of the Octopus Movement. And what I love about that is that they're all connecting with each other. And people are meeting each other in real life, and they send me pictures like, oh, we met a bunch of other octopi, and they're setting up meetings. So the Octopus Movement is not creating meetings. They're doing it themselves. And that's what I love about what's happening here. And then I got a message that one of the founding members is working together with the other founding member, and like, how do you know each other? I'm like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter how they know each other. Of course, it's all interconnected, and that's
Exactly.
the human mycelium, and we should celebrate that. We should do something with that because it's very powerful. And then it doesn't matter what kind of background you have, if you have a beard or not, and how you're educated and your upbringing, and all that becomes irrelevant because we're all humans. We're all one of one. That's it.
Well,
Very simple.
we all fit the beard piece, but you should have told us that we were doing the hat thing
I
today.
only have a mustache.
Well, you have half a beard.
A little bit of beard.
And I saw the hats of Matt, so I was
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
oh, I
We
need
should
to
have
wear
all
a
we
hat.
should have all
Yeah,
done that.
Yes,
yeah, yeah. I love hats.
He has one more. I just gave him one this weekend. So
It's up there.
yeah, I
It's,
see it. I see
1,
it.
2, 3 from the bottom.
It's the third one, right in the middle. That
Yeah.
it's got good positioning. I'm glad of that.
I love that there. Yeah.
Perry, this has been awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you for telling us about what you're doing, telling us about how you see the world. Because honestly, one, it's very radical, and two, it's very consistent with what we're doing. And the more, whatever language we use, the more we all push at the edge of this box, the longer it will. The less time it will be before we're on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's where we really want to be. So lots to do, and it sounds like you're doing some of that, and we need to cooperate and do more. So looking forward to hearing more. Maybe we'll have you back in a couple of months or 3-4 months and just catch us up on what's going on.
Are you open to that?
Of course, it's an absolute pleasure to be here, and thank you, because you're helping me tremendously. This is, we're doing something which is awesome, and nobody knows about it, and we're growing every day, but we're not there yet with the billion nonlinear thinkers. We have more than 8,000, which is already fantastic. But
it's all for
we want to grow.
It's up to all of us to do this, right?
Yeah.
We need to help each other.
So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing this.
And we'd love to talk to your community as well, because the work we're doing. So
Cool.
Next week, we've got Robert Snyder, founder of Innovation Elegance. Robert is going to be talking about solving volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, or VUCA, as we all know it. And I'm looking forward to that. It's been a while since we've talked about VUCA. It was on the top of everybody's tongue for a while there, and it's been a while since we've talked about it. So interesting to hear how that goes. So again, Perry, a real pleasure.
Jose, thank you. Matt, thank you so much.
We will find time to catch up again and see how our respective communities can help each other.
Cool. Let's do that. Thank you, Radical World. I love that.
Thank you, Octopi.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Like this.
Yeah, we do this sometimes.
Octopi,
like
yes.
8 arms, and we're celebrating the 8 arms.
Eight.
Eight. Yeah.
Eight.
And we're off.